Logan Hall's Grill Streams here. I've, or basically, I just want to do a quick stream here, guys. So I actually did a stream with OC last night, and and if you caught that stream, oh yeah, yeah, YouTube is a little bit stupid with this like this orientation thing. But anyway, if you caught the stream last night with OC and I, you would have saw that or seen that I was making my own bacon last night. And how you make your own bacon is you basically smoke pork belly, but before you smoke it, you have to like wet brine it for 7 days and everything. So again, I started this project over a week ago. Um, and so last night I smoked one half of my pork belly slab. And so what I did was I basically split it into two. I did one was sort of a maple bourbon style uh, sort of brine there, and so that's actually what's on the grill right now. So we'll get to that in just a moment, but I also wanted to showcase what the process is for like actually slicing your own bacon too. Um, so what I made last night is sort of a more traditional uh, sort of steakhouse style bacon, where it's pretty nice and thick, but it's very pepper forward. It's pepper heavy, and and I smoked it with hickory wood. So with the the bacon that I'm cooking right now, and I'll quickly show this on the screen here. Um, so this one is the second half of the slab here. Hey, OC, welcome. Thank you, brother. Um, but anyway, this is the second slab that we're going with here. This is the maple bourbon one, and we're smoking with apple wood for that one here. So let's flip back over here, and I want to show you the process of slicing your own bacon too. So this is going to be a bit of TV magic here. You see it like being cooked on the grill over there, but then here you'll see that I have my own meat slicer. Because, again, I'm Logan Hall's Grill Streams. Of course, we're going to have my own meat slicer, right? So this is half of the half slab that I made last night. For it to actually fit on this sort of tray here, I basically had to half the half. And what I want to show you guys here is the process. Let me drop this down a little bit. So I'll show you the process of actually slicing this up here. We have fun playtime, furry more. Okay, welcome, man. What's going on? Can you shout me out? Yeah, brother. No worries. So, for those of you that are interested, this is a Bestwood 250 slicer. It's a 10-inch blade back here. You can't see that right now, but this is basically just short of a sort of what you would use in like an actual deli, or I mean, honestly, I mean, you know, there's actually like a bunch of delis that I mean, I'm sure that would use this. I mean, it's a really solid machine. Um, but I mean, it might be just short of what they would use at like Katz's Deli or whatever, right? But anyway, there's a nice big on switch right here, and now you can hear it whir up in action. And so again, I do have a protective glove here. When you're dealing with really sharp blades like this, you absolutely have to wear protection. Um, but what I'll do now is I'm just going to you're gonna apply some pressure here, and our first piece of bacon looks like this. Again, it's nice and thick. That I would call that about a 1/4 inch. So I can go a little bit thinner actually. And it's still going to be good. But I'm going to try to slice a few together here, and we'll see how that looks. Yep. So that's what it looks like, guys. Let's just kind of get this all organized over here. And that, my friends, is homemade bacon. Again, it's got that nice sort of, you know, sort of fat cap that has been smoked. So that's why it has that darker color. And we're actually going to use this on something else that I'm going to be grilling. This is a multi-grill stream here. I'm trying to combine several things into one here, just because I happen to need to grill multiple things at once tonight. So you're in for a multi-grill stream treat. So we're going to move over to my Napoleon gas grill. And if you guys caught my stream a couple, maybe 2 or 3 days ago, I did a smash burger. And what I'll do here is I'm just gonna orient this so that you guys can see what I'm grilling at all times. So I'm gonna apply just a little bit of oil here. And get my tongs. So I'm just going to spread this around a little bit with a paper towel. And the first thing we'll actually do, we're going to grab a couple slices of our bacon that we just sliced. And we're going to put that down. So I'm going to crank up the heat just a little bit more. I had this on low while we were slicing there just a moment ago, but we currently have our bacon being cooked right here. And basically, if you saw my smash burger stream from a couple nights ago, what you're about to see is going to be very similar to what you saw on that stream. But in case you didn't, you're in for another treat here. So I have two sort of, I guess, balls of meat. This is my own concoction of brisket, short rib, and chuck. So I'm just going to hit those with a little bit of nonstick. And what we'll also do is I have this cast iron press here, and we're going to hit that up with a little bit of nonstick too. But the reason it's like the nonstick, guys, is if you don't use a bit of nonstick, as the name suggests, things will stick. So let's go ahead and smash this patty. And sometimes it will still stick like that, which is okay. I mean, it's not the end of the world. So you just kind of try to piece it back together like that. And we'll do the same. Again, it's okay if it kind of comes apart. Let's flatten that other side just a little bit more. So those are our patties. And with any piece of meat, you need a seasoning. So we'll hit it with a bit of salt. Pepper. Now we wait. But we don't have to wait long here. We can check on our bacon here. We'll flip that over. And that's already getting some nice color there. So we'll give this just a little bit of time. And then So what we're looking for in the patties is we want to essentially look for the browning on the edges here, but then also notice what this guy's doing. All the liquid is kind of, foaming up at the top, and that's a good sign too. So again, look for the browning on the outside, and then look for the liquid starting to pool up on the top. That's when you know it's going to be good to flip. Any questions in the chat? Who do we have? We have Amal. Smash, smash, smash. Hey, thank you, brother. Let's see. Logan, do Smash restaurants use flour to bind the meat? Find it hard to think that minced meat would keep that texture without the binding. That's actually a very good question of Amal. So I've seen some people actually just use an egg, similar to what you would do for like a meatball, and that can certainly work too. So I think flour is more of a Chinese thing, sort of more so like an Asian thing. They actually use flour or a bit of cornstarch to add a bit of crispiness to the meat. And that's great for like when you're doing like Mongolian beef or, any kind of takeout beef sort of, stir fry dish. So I'm gonna just trust that this one is good. Yeah, that's pretty good browning here. I think I'll wait a little bit longer for the second patty here, just because I want it to be just slightly more brown. So in case you guys don't know, the actual browning effect is called the Maillard reaction. So it's sort of a scientific thing named after a guy named Yogan with that last name. And basically, there's a chemical sort of reaction going on to create that browning effect. And that's kind of universal throughout really most all proteins, right? Beef is going to get browned, chicken will get browned, right? So there's something going on in sort of the chemical composition when it gets exposed to heat like that on a surface. So I was definitely not a science major by any means. So that's about all I can tell you on that front. But let's go ahead and flip this other one. And that has some better browning there. So that's really what I'm going for. What we're going to do now is we're going to slap some cheese on. Now, what cheese am I using, you might ask? I'm using the only cheese that was bestowed upon this great country of America, American cheese. On the seventh day, God said, "Let there be cheese," and by golly, this was the first cheese that he introduced to the world. Now, I'm not a preacher by any means. I don't mean to be, if it comes off that way. But that is my preaching for the day. So what we'll do, we'll actually close this up just for maybe 30 seconds or so. That will allow the sort of the all the moisture that is being trapped within the dome here to allow the cheese to melt a little bit. Now, if I didn't, close this dome, it would still, melt nicely, but it's going to melt nicer and a bit more consistently if we close the dome here and we basically create that sort of trapped environment. Any other questions? No other questions, but that's okay. Hey, we have 6 viewers and we have 5 upvotes. That means one of you has not upvoted yet. If that's you, this is your cue to go ahead and upvote. So these guys are looking good. One rookie mistake that I made here, I forgot to slap down the buns here. So the buns could have been getting browned at the same time here, but when you're grilling sort of 7 things at one time, it's very easy to miss that kind of detail. So we're just going to give this just another few seconds. Again, it's okay that, like, the patties are still going here. You know, when you're doing smash burgers, right? You know, you're not really going to get any pink because the patties are so thin, right? You know, and you don't necessarily want too much pink in a burger anyway. M- most restaurants just are just using ground beef, right? You know, they're not necessarily using anything special for their beef. So, okay, so we have a bit of nice browning there on that one, but what we really care about is this bottom one here, which, might I say, is browned perfectly. So what we'll do, I like to pick the smallest, or sorry, I like to pick the largest patty first, and I like to put that one on the bottom. However, as as we alluded to earlier, and as our forefathers foretold, because it broke up like so, we're not getting a super clean lift here. It's all about the lift, guys. It's about the B to B ratio and the lifting act, the act of lifting. Look, I may not lift weights, but I do lift burger patties, and I think that's good enough. So now this is a very, very, very controversial step right here. Actually, you know what? Let's actually use some of the bacon that we're cooking here. I'm just going to put a little bit of bacon off to the side, but I'm going to split this guy in half. If my friend will split. And actually, I'm going to turn off the grill too because we're pretty much done in terms of grilling here. Always be conscious of when your grill is on. Of course, you don't want the grill to keep on grilling as you're, for fuck's sake. Okay, you know what? Let me go in. I'll get a knife and I'm gonna slash that guy because I don't think I'm gonna do 2 whole slices here. So I'm just gonna close this up. Again, we've already turned off all the burners here. That's all good. I'm gonna just actually even may get a pair of scissors just real quick and just kind of slice that up real quick. I'll be right back. Thank you for your patience, everybody. So this is the bacon slice in question here. I have a pair of scissors. We're just going to slice that up real quick. Well, a bit of burger operations, bacon operations. And the anesthesia is wearing off, guys. What we have now is, let me move you guys over here. So what we have now is a burger affixed with some perfectly cooked bacon. And here's the controversial step that I was talking about just a moment ago. You may have noticed I also have some uncooked raw onion. Why raw, you might ask? Well, I mean, I like to go in raw. I mean, it's, you know, I mean, it's no question, right? I mean, going in raw is going in better than being cooked. So I'm going to put my highly controversial onions right there. And then what we'll do, no burger is complete without a bit of mustard. Or maybe a lot of mustard, depending on your mustard tolerance. But what we have just created may seem unholy, But this is a burger for the ages, guys. This is a double patty bacon smash burger with raw onions and mustard. That's all you need, guys. That's all you need. We have MD Chaz in the chat. Welcome. Why are griddles so popular these days? Seems like a pan would be easier to use and clean. Well, you would think that, MD Chaz. But let me school you up, brother. So, yes, you are correct in that griddles are very, very popular these days. You might know one particular brand by the name of Blackstone. Blackstone is a very popular. Actually, let me do this. The orientation is locked. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Okay. You guys can see that. You can partially see me. So this will be a burger eating experience live. And there's a bit of. Jesus, a little bit foggy, but that's okay. That's okay. You can see me, which is not much to look at, I know. But you'll see me take a bite of this unholy burger. So, on three, 1, 2, 3. Wow. And that bacon is something else, actually. Wow. Chomp, 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 guys. Give me an upvote for the chomps. Now, that's a great burger. You know, I mean, a little messy, and you know, I mean, it just came off the grill too, so it's fucking hot, all right? But something I probably should have done first. Let's just take a look at this bacon. Let's just examine